He laughed when he said it. My son. Standing in the kitchen, coffee mug in hand, eyes cold but amused. Can't wait to see Mom's face when she realizes she's broke. He thought I was asleep when he transferred every last dollar to his wife's account. He thought the mother who raised him couldn't see betrayal when it stared her in the face. He thought wrong. So when he came home that night, still smelling like the arrogance he'd inherited from his father, I was sitting at the dining table, calm, composed, waiting. I smiled. "I already know, sweetheart," I said softly, "and I've got a surprise for you, too." He froze. His jaw tightened, but his voice tried to stay light. "Mom, I don't know what you're talking about." Oh, but he did. I remember when he used to hold my hand while crossing the street, when he'd look up at me like I was invincible. His laughter used to fill this house. His drawings used to cover the fridge. And now he stood before me, a man who looked at me as if I were a burden he couldn't wait to discard. It started small. The phone calls he'd end abruptly when I entered the room, the financial help he offered to take over after his father's death. The night I saw his wife whisper something and he nodded without meeting my eyes. I wanted to believe it was grief, that he was lost, confused. But mothers know. We always do. The first time I saw the transfer slip, I felt nothing. No panic, no anger, just silence. Because something in me, something that had been quiet for too long, finally woke up. I had built this life, every brick, every cent. And I wasn't about to watch my own son tear it apart with a smirk. So I smiled at him at breakfast, just like always. I let him think he'd won, and then I began. Step 1, the trust. He thought I trusted him. I played along. I even asked him to handle a few remaining accounts while I pretended to grieve his father. But what he didn't know was that I'd already spoken to the bank. The same day I saw that transfer, I closed every primary account and moved the money, quietly, into a private trust. Step 2, the property. He thought he'd inherited half the house. He hadn't read the fine print. His father left it entirely to me. And 3 days later, I legally transferred ownership to someone else. Not to charity, not to him. To a name he'd soon come to know. Step 3, the illusion. I let the bills pile up, the fridge empty. I let him believe I was struggling. He stopped calling every day. His wife stopped pretending to care. And I let them. Because you can't teach betrayal a lesson. It has to experience loss to understand it. That night, when I told him I knew, he tried to smile it off. "Mom, you're being paranoid. It was just a transfer for convenience." I tilted my head. "Convenience?" I repeated. "Yes, that's what you called it when you sold your father's watch, too." The color drained from his face. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. "Do you know who owns this house now?" He frowned. "You do." I smiled. "No, she does." And right on cue, the door opened. A woman stepped in, graceful, composed, carrying a briefcase. His father's lawyer. The same one who'd helped me restructure everything 3 months ago. "Good evening, Mrs. Kahn," she said to me politely. Then she turned to him. "Mr. Kahn, of this afternoon, the ownership of this house has been legally transferred. You are no longer entitled to reside here." His confusion turned into panic. "What the hell is this?" I leaned back, my voice calm. "You took everything I built for you and gave it away. So I built something new." He shouted, he cursed, he begged, but I didn't move. I had already buried one man who betrayed me. I didn't need to bury another. When the lawyer left, I walked him to the door. "Where am I supposed to go?" he said, voice cracking. "Home," I replied. "To your wife. The one who wanted to see my face when I realized I was broke. Let her show you hers when she realizes you are." He didn't understand. Not yet. But he would when the bank called in the morning. When he learned that every account in his wife's name had been frozen for financial misconduct. When he learned that the trust I created was in someone else's name. The name of a child who had done nothing but love me. My late husband's son from his first marriage. The one my son never accepted. The one who now owns everything he tried to steal. That was my surprise. He found out who took his place. I closed the door behind him and sat in silence. The clock ticked softly in the background, the house breathing like it finally exhaled. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because I won, but because I remembered who I was before I became someone's mother, someone's wife, someone's fool. I poured myself a cup of tea. Outside, headlights faded down the street, and I whispered to the empty room, "Justice doesn't need anger. It just needs patience." Then I smiled, because I had both.